Welcome to the Opinion Combination Podcast, Preps Edition for this last day of January and heading into February. I'm KJ Pilcher alongside Dick Briggs, ready to doing a little flex there. A lot going on. Where do you want to start? I mean, you really could jump into the conference tournaments last week. The girls' postseason is upon us. We got state duels, fresh off regional duels, and now we have a state duels field. Where would you like to jump in and kind of start?
Let's do it chronologically. Let's go the last Saturday conference tournaments, and then the regional duels last night, and then how about the
Sounds
girls?
good. Well, I'll start off. I was at Williamsburg for the Walmack tournament on Saturday. I tell you what, everything that you expected from the Walmack, outstanding tournament there. Mount Vernon, the first time Mount Vernon history since they've joined the Walmack. I believe their first Walmack tournament was 2009, and they've been runner up. They've been third. Just about everywhere in the top 8 you can imagine they've placed it, except before this year first, and now they have a tournament title to go with their, I believe, Walmack East dual title. I believe they were the dual champs in the East division. And now they have a Walmack individual tournament title. They scored 202.5 points, 5 champs. They outlasted Clear Creek Amana, who was runner up at 178. West Delaware was third at 172.5. Independence was fourth at 163.5. Benton fifth at 162, and then you had Williamsburg sixth at 157. So you had Mount Vernon pulled away a little bit, but you had this cluster of teams in the top 6 that were only separated by about 21 points. So that's pretty amazing, and really says a lot about the depth and balance in the WAMAC this year.
Right, and Mount Vernon came away with 5 champs, and Clear Creek Amana only had 1 champ. So the chances of Clear Creek Amana catching Mount Vernon were pretty slim and none in the finals, really, with that many champions or potential champions. Actually, they had 6 in the finals, and that might have been their only disappointment on the day was their runner up. Good. I mean, it's a nice springboard for Mount Vernon into the regional duels, and hopefully into the state duels and state tournament, as well as you have to admire Benton Community had 3 champions, and so that's a nice showing there. That's that program that it's running high right now, and I think credit. They've gone through a couple of coaches here in the last few years with TJ Murphy and Jake Voss that have kind of got things rolling, I think, and so a little bit of credit to those guys, but certainly to that coaching staff now and those wrestlers.
Yep, Gene Pilcher's done a nice job, really continuing what's been built there, or kind of re-energized a little bit there. But Clear Creek, I mean, just looking at what they were able to do, that was a team effort. I think that was exactly what Kyle Fornes said afterwards, that they did have 3 in the finals. With 1 and 2, Cale Nash came away with a title at 120. But if I remember right, I think they had like 13 of their 14 wrestlers place, so quite a few. I can't remember how many they had in the semis. See if I can find my trusty
Right.
chart.
Quick comment on CCA. I've been nothing but impressed with them since that very first triangular at Prairie when I popped over to see them, and we got to cover one of their meets this year, and just they've shined, and you're right, Coach Forness and company have done such a great job in those wrestlers there. So well done.
Yeah, six semifinalists, which was fourth overall behind Mount Vernon, Indy both had 8. Benton Community had 7, and then Clear Creek, Amana, and Solon both had 6 in the semis. So they had 6 in the semis, 3 in the finals, and then the champion Kale Nash at 120 pounds. He looked good. Beat Braden Mowry of West Delaware 13-5 in the finals. That was after he edged Dylan Heater of Grinnell, which, it was kind of odd seeing Grinnell there. Kind of forgotten they had joined the WAMAC, but Nash with a big 1-0 win in the semis. And then he prevented Mowry from winning his third conference title, I believe. And Nash has won 2 conference titles in the last 3 seasons. So good showing for him. And I was really impressed with Clear Creek. West Delaware stumbled a little bit, but still had a nice showing. They got a champ in Brett Yankovic. What a 4 finalists for West Delaware. Here's what I've said this before. I always like seeing like the title is split up from schools, and even though Mount Vernon had 5, Benton had 3, South Tama had 2 with Amari Chavez and Gavin Bridgewater. But like through the first half of the finals, like through the first 6 finals matches, you had champs from 6 different schools.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I love seeing that because that's always a huge indicator to me about the balance and the depth of a competitive conference. And even though Mount Vernon ended with 5, they got championships from, after that, Clayton Peralt got them started. Big Pin at 106 was their first titleist. And then Jackson Jaspers at 144, Mikey Ryan 150, I believe Jackson Hurd at 157, and then heavyweight Ethan Wood finished things out. But Perot, that Big Pin, because things were tight. It was only like a 5-point lead over Clear Creek Manic going into the finals. And then that pin right there just about doubled their lead, or actually did double their lead, and then they never looked back
Right.
after that. But
and I didn't mean to say that Clear Creek didn't have a chance, but with the firepower that Mount Vernon has, especially in the kind of middle upper weights there, that and 6 in the finals as opposed to 3, and pretty good opportunity for champions. That that was not. I mean, it would have Mount Vernon would have had to really probably lost all of them to not win the team title. But maybe the most significant champ was at was it 135 135, am I thinking that right, with with Caden Kramer, and
138
138, sorry. And
yep, that was big. Caden Kramer, big weekend. He came out, got a big 5-point move like towards the end of the first period. That put him up 5-0. Jaspers came kind of chipping away, coming back, but then Kramer added a takedown in the third and won 9-4. That was after he He won a overtime match against Solon's Jordan Schmidt. Needed a big write out in the third period. Got it. Forced sudden victory. There's a little bit of a scramble, a flurry, and it wasn't a roll or a switch, but looked like Schmidt was coming around behind, and then all of a sudden, there's this little modified roll, and Kramer's coming around behind for the score and sudden victory to win 4-2, I believe. So he had two back-to-back matches in a weight class that was loaded. When you look at the top six and the guys that have been ranked, if they're not ranked now, they have been throughout the year. When you have Caden Kramer and Jace Jaspers, Mikhail Bear from South Tama, Jordan Schmidt of Solon was fourth, Nolan Howell of Clear Creek Amana, and then Jax Miller of West Delaware finished sixth. There's a possibility that he finishes higher in Des Moines than he did in Williamsburg.
Right.
And it just goes to show you the depth of this weight class in the WOMAC.
Right. And I haven't looked at how the route to Des Moines, if these guys are going to cross paths again, but if not, that could certainly affect and will certainly affect seeding at the state tournament. Bouncing one up and one down, and all the others that were involved in that as well. So, we'll see how their routes too. See if they have to. Someone might get eliminated if there's, four that are, looking for the 3 seats.
Right. Just a couple other notes. Brendan Hang of Benton Community, he remained unbeaten. He's 32-0 now. Just kind of rolled through the 165-pound weight class. Beat Garrison Gillihan of West Delaware 16-0 in the finals. Of course, he had teammates, I believe they're brothers, Elijah Kupka at 132. That came away with a title, and then Troy Kupka at 190. Beat Ethan Williams of Clear Creek Amana. That was kind of the bracket buster where I think Kupka was the number 3 seed and Williams the number 4 seed. That knocked off the top 2 seeds in the semis. So Benton Community, the brothers and Hang with titles, and then Brent Yankovic of West Delaware won at 175. He beat Cale Moore 15-2. He became the 42nd 3-time champ, if I'm remembering correctly. And he has a chance to become a 4-time champ next year for West Delaware.
Right.
Just verifying here that it was the 42nd. Yes, 42nd 3-time WOMAC champion, which started with Gilbert Cooler, was a 3-time champ from 1960 to 62 for Makokta. And here are the 4-timers he could join next year. Bart Gingrich of Vinton Schellsburg, who did it from 71 to 74. Jason Harris of Independence, who did it from 82 and 85. And some Metro people might remember that name. Cruz Harris was the state champ for Kennedy, wrestled at UNI, Jason's son. Tim Halligan of Independence did it from 1997 to 2000. Remember, Don Bosco used to be in the WOMAC, and Mac Ryder was a 4-timer from 2003. Then West Delaware, Kalen Lenz, Zach McCool, Nathan Vasky. Nathan Vasky, an assistant coach for the Hawks right now, did that in between. See, Lenz finished off his run in 05, McCool in 07, Vasky in 09, and then Caleb Fesley was the last one to do it for Center Point Urbana, and he's with Iowa State. Did it from 2016 to 2019. So Brent Yankovic has a chance to join that group next season.
When did CPU join the the WAMAC?
That is a very good question.
It must have been after Brock Rathman went through.
No, I don't believe Rathman was a four-timer.
He got beat in the conference, huh? How about that? Four-time
I believe Rathman and one of the Woods actually wrestled each other. Or Zach Less. One of those lightweights,
right.
I think went back and forth. Rathman and him went back and forth with that.
Okay, that would make sense. Those are pretty solid wrestlers who just
yeah, because they're and then I think one of the West Delaware kids beat him like at state, and then the next year Rathman got revenge, I think, if I'm remembering it correctly. The following year at state. So
right, finals, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Maybe Patrick Woods might have been the one that
good wrestlers for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So but the WAMAC pretty much delivered what everybody expected. I mean, between the team races, from 1 through 6, the individual performances and what have you. It was a really, really fun tournament to watch.
Right, and I've been to worked at quite a number of tournaments. And probably my favorite gym in the state, one of them anyway. I just love that Williamsburg facility and that kind of arena style and gym that overlooks the football field, just beautiful. And the Williamsburg did crown one champ with Lincoln Strop. So I don't know how many now how many conference championships the Strop family holds, but
overall, I know Lincoln, that was his second straight. So he's won 2 out of 3 WAMAC titles.
His brother who's
I can't remember.
Bubba.
I might be able to see here.
That was nice for the hometown crowd to have a champion for sure. And that Strop family, I like them.
Papa Strop. And just to let you know, Rathman was a 3-timer. He won in 14, 15, and 16.
So he did not win it his freshman year.
Yes. Which that would make me think it was Patrick Woods that did it. And here's something I just realized too. Brent Yankovic's older brother Brett was also a 3-time champ from West Delaware. His older brother Brett, who I believe is at Waukee Northwest, maybe right now as an assistant coach, or he won 3 from 08 to 10. I'm going to read these. Okay, so I'm getting sidetracked here, and we'll get through it. But just some of the names on this list of WAMAC 3-time champs, it's eye-opening. The talent that's been in this league. Some of them I'm sure people will know better than I do prior to the 80s, but Lyle Lochner from Marion, that's the name that stands out. Tim Novak from LaSalle, Chad Gerbrock from Independence, Tony Milkoff from LaSalle, Wes Hand from South Tama, Mitch Payton from West Delaware, Paul Bradley from South Tama, Blaze Cabell from Independence, Austin Blythe from Williamsburg, J.C. for Candy from Williamsburg as well. You've got Chase Straw, Rathman we talked about, Braden Burt and Max Lyon from Western Dubuque. And, of course, they went on. Braden Burt, stud at Milliken, Max Lyon wrestling at Purdue. Of course, Western Dubuque now in the MVC. And then Wyatt Volker currently at UNI. So some huge names there in the WAMAC as far as 3-time champs go.
Yeah, Braden Burt was a multi-time national champion for Milliken. Yeah, wonderful top wrestler. I mean, great on his feet, but man, when he got on top, look out. Holy cow, you didn't want to be underneath him.
So we mentioned Western Dubuque used to be in the WAMAC, now in the MVC. Sounds like a great opportunity to transition and for me to stop babbling about the WAMAC and stuff from this weekend. But the MVC tournament, a little bit of a surprise. Cedar Rapids Prairie coming out on top with the team title there.
You know, yeah, of course I'm working it, and Dubuque Senior, who has a beautiful new facility. I mean, it's the first time I've been there since they built on and added on, and so they had hosted it in 2 gyms, the 3 mats in their old competition gym, and then they have a new gym. They had 2 mats down below there, and so I had 5 mats running. Did a wonderful job hosting, and you know, as I'm working it, you don't get to. I'm not focused in on the team sort of thing. I got home the next day and went, you know, I don't even know who won the tournament. I opened it up and I went, holy cow, Prairie won it. So you know,
you're focused on
you're
the job at hand.
Exactly. And so you're right. I was surprised that not, and Prairie's made a great improvement this year, but I was a little bit surprised that Prairie won it. I really didn't know who won. I knew it was gonna be close. I thought Prairie and Linn-Mar and Hempstead and you know, Iowa City West, those teams that would be in the hunt, but I didn't really know who was going to win. So good for Prairie. Good job.
Yeah, kind of the opposite of the WAMAC, where one team just kind of pulled away, and the team that had maybe you know, the balance just didn't have the firepower to hang with the top team. Here, I think it's the other way around, where you know, Prairie's balance. Of course, how many times have we seen that where you know, with Blake Williams and Kane Thompson and now Derek Ball put out 14 really competitive guys at each weight, and you know, they just had one champion. Linn-Mar had 4, but it was all the other you know, the seconds and thirds and fourths and fifths. 13 medalists, 8 in the top 4 for Prairie. Dylan Munson came away with a championship at 106. Then Tyler Lee at 132, Aiden Kirk at 138, Wyatt Vlasic, who's been one of their leaders all season, finished runner-up. Vlasic at 157. So right there, their depth a little bit more than Linn-Mar's firepower. Who got titles from Malik DeBow at 120, Nate Fish at 126, Kane Nachgeborn at 144, and Grant Kress, who was up to 175 there.
Right. And a couple of notes on Linn-Mar. First of all, Nachgeborn, Kane Nachgeborn won the title with 3 falls, a fall in 12 seconds, 19 seconds, and 44 seconds. So he wrestled a total of 1:15 in the whole tournament. So
he probably squatted more in the bus ride up there than during his matches.
Right. And so I got to thinking, I remember saying that he pinned his way through the last tournament they were in. Geneseo, was it, or whatever one they were in? And I got to think, I'm gonna look and see. Man, this kid has been on a tear. He's had 12 matches in a row that have been pins, and then the match that was not a pin was a technical fall against Jackson Jaspers. I mean, so and I'm not.
That's a 3-time state medalist,
right? And All-Mac champion. And so anyway, he's 30-0 on the season, 28 falls. And then he had that technical fall, and then 1 decision to an Apple Valley kid in the County Brook, I believe. And anyway, so man, he's had been getting. I broke it down even a little more. He's had 19 first period falls and only 1 third period fall.
Wow.
So, but you know, hopefully he got some gas in the tank if he ever has to go the distance because he hasn't gone very deep into matches. So
I remember talking to him at the beginning of the season, our preseason feature. He was the subject of, and the thing that came through is that he really has his sights set on not just being the best in the state, but the best in the country. I think Kevin Dresser's got a good one coming his way. One of the things that Nakaborn has, he talked about 2 sheets of paper that he looks at every day. One's posted on his bathroom mirror. The other one's fixed in his wrestling locker, just so he gets reminders daily that there were 14 kids ranked above him in the country, and that some of the kids that were ranked ahead of him from the state even. And he looks at that every day, and he knows that if I'm not training my hardest, they will catch me or they're going to stay ahead of me. And I tell you what, he's climbed that ladder to where there aren't 14 kids ranked in front of him anymore. And that's a testament to his hard work. And, I know you're a big proponent of having those goals visually in front of you so you see it each day and kind of have that positive thinking and kind of that focus on what you want to accomplish. And that's something that Nakaborn talked about at the beginning of the year, and obviously what you just shared with his dominance here throughout the season, it's paying off.
Right, and I guess I compiled these before last night's meet. I forgot to throw in last night's meet, so he added another one, didn't he?
Yep.
And anyway, so I don't remember his first period, but anyway, so the guy's he's definitely, he's not out there to win. He's not out there to major technical fall. He wants a pin and he wants it early. So that's pretty neat. Another neat thing happened with the Linmar wrestler. I was after the last match, I was walking across the gym to go shower and change, and Grant Kress approached me and just kind of to chit chat and say hi, because we had worked at a tournament, Linmar youth tournament last year, and what a nice thing, to do that. I thought that was pretty cool. But I happened to ask him, he's wrestling 75. I said, "You're up a weight, huh?" And so I went back and looked at his history. He's up 2 weights actually, but he weighed in 1 weight above, I think 161 or something, and so that he can keep his descent plan in line. And then he went up to 75 to help the team out a bit. So, but then I got to thinking, at 57, that could be, I haven't looked that close, but that could be a state finals match. I don't know how they'll be seeded or whatever, but with Wojnowicz and Kress, maybe if they're both to make it to the finals, and both quality wrestlers. So that's we might see that somewhere along the line to the state. I don't think they cross paths, but definitely at state that'd be a great match, I think.
Right. And as far as last night goes for Nakaborn, he bumped up 2 weight classes and got a 3rd period fall. So he actually wrestled 157 against Waverly Shell Rock and got a fall in 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So,
well, that answers can he go the distance route?
So yeah, apparently so. Not a problem there. But yeah, speaking of Wojnowicz, he was one of 3 champs for Iowa City High, which finished 4th. Cale Seaton at 132, Cale Kurtz at 138, and then Wojnowicz, who we just found out committed to the University of Iowa as well. So all 3 of them won crowns for City High. We mentioned they got 4, they got 4th. Iowa City West had a couple champs with Alex Pierce, I believe Justin Avila. as well. And then Cedar Rapids Xavier got fifth. No champion there. They had a finalist in Ronan Thomas, who got second to Grant Grass, who was up to 175. So good showing there for the Saints as well.
Right, they had two runner-ups and a third, so very nice. We've watched them improve this year, and they've had a great season. And I continue success with them in the tournament series here.
Yep. Is Hempstead a little banged up right now?
I didn't see Pins in the lineup, so he's out, and he's been in and out this year, I think, a little bit. So they must be, but if there's anyone that might have had a disappointing tournament, might have been Hempstead, I guess. I didn't really look, too close at that one, but I kind of expected them maybe to be in the hunt for the title.
Yeah, I thought they'd be one of the favorites, along with Linmar, as well. Didn't expect them to be outside of the top five, but the MVC, you can always count on something happening that surprises you as well. A little bit there. Moving on, some of the other area conferences, no real surprise. Alburnett kind of ran away with the Tri-Rivers Conference. They got titles from Atlee DeWitt at 106, Rowdy Neighbor 120, Peyton Kufall at 26, Cooper Franklin at 132, Preston Klosterman at 138, Shaden Washburn 157, Hunter Sauer at 165, and then Emmett Fleshman at 215. They were dominant, almost hit 300 points. Lisbon was a distant second at 238. And then East Buck was third, even further back. But Alburnett dominated its way to a title. And then the River Valley Conference, no real surprise there either. Wilton came away with a team title. But Anamosa's had a really good season. They, I believe they made the regional dual final last night against Osage. They were runners up in the RVC. They actually won 4 consecutive titles in the middleweights with Hudson Scranton at 150, Mike and Wheeler 157, Aiden Antonelli. I believe he has ties to Cedar Rapids Regis's wrestling program back quite a few years ago. And then 175-pounder Austin Scranton, who I believe is ranked number 1 in Class 2A. So good showing from Anamosa, and then West Branch, who's had a really good year as well. They were third in the RVC tournament.
Right, and West Branch had 6 in the finals and had 1 champ in Logan Wright at heavyweight, but disappointing there for him. But to finish third in that tournament's good. I wanted to back up just one note on the Tri-Rivers at heavyweight. I don't know if you noticed, we were talking about him last week, and Coach was upset. Actually, got beat 4-3 by Aiden Salau from Makokata Valley, who had Fox had pinned him twice earlier.
Wow.
So he avenged those 2 losses. So that was kind of the one match that really stood out to me.
That's kind of big. And those Mac Valley, they've got those 3 upper weights with Salau, Davis, and Nathan Beats or Bites. They go 190, 215 in heavyweight. And I tell you what, that's a heck of an upper weight trio for those 3. I think they all 3 were medalists last year, and they're poised to do the same this season as well. So Salau, a part of that group.
Right. And then I guess my other comment on that Tri-Rivers Valley, we mentioned Keaton Moeller, such a great wrestler at 157, I think, at from Starmont.
65, I think.
Yeah, and he had a 7-1 win over Reese Klosterman from who's a great wrestler for Alburnett. So that kind of solidifies that sophomore is a tough. He's going to be fun to watch with these 2.5 years left or whatever.
Yeah, I believe he finished third last year as a freshman for Starmont. He's got a nice partner, Avery Vasky, who's ranked fifth maybe as well. So big a lot of potential there for Moeller as a postseason approaches.
Right. And just to tack on to Alburnett, they had not only those 8 champs, but 2 runner-ups. So they had 10 in the Yikes.
Yeah, definitely an impressive showing there for Alburnett, who also had an impressive showing at the regional duels. Is there anything from the conference tournaments um, that you kind of looked up or think is noteworthy that we haven't touched on yet? Before we move on to regional duels.
Mention this in that River Valley. Wilton had 6 champions and a runner-up and a third, and they're just a solid team. So that's a team to keep an eye on, both in the duels and at the state tournament as Wilton. So
yeah, should be fun. I mean, we've talked about it a few times that kind of a three-way race with Don Bosco, Wilton, and Alburnett right now has the makings to be pretty entertaining.
Right. Yeah, but we had some. Speaking of entertaining, some that were entertaining last night, and as projected, some that were not. They're kind of runaways. So.
Yeah. Well, let's just start with Class 3A. Really, everything kind of went according to seeds except for number 8 and number 9 at Linmar. For the second straight year, Linmar with a heartbreaker fell to this year. It was Waverly Shellrock, the number 9 seed. Last year, I think it was Hempstead, who was maybe the number 11 seed that came in, beat them in the last match, won in overtime to secure the win last year. And then this time, Waverly Shellrock gets 3 straight pins to close the meet for a 42-36 win over the number 8 Lions. Kind of knew it might be a close duel. That was a tough matchup, but the bonus points were key. They split 7-7, and Waverly Shellrock had each win by pin.
Right. And it's that 8 and 9 matchup in all 3 classes generally tends to be the best, the closest competitively. And obviously here it was. Now the only other mild upsets, unfortunately, happened with Clear Creek and Amana. They were the 12th seed and they lost to the 20th seed North Scott in that first round. And then North Scott lost to Hempstead. And then also out of our range, but Carlisle got beat by Waukee. Carlisle was 14th and Waukee 22nd. In the first round, City High did beat Norwalk 45-23 and then lost to powerful Southeast Polk 66-15. And then Prairie beat Iowa City West 43-25. And then Prairie lost to also powerful Bettendorf 57-13. So that kind of winds it up on 3A there in our area.
Yep. And then just
Xavier, I guess.
Yeah, Xavier fell to Johnston early on, the Saints' second regional duels appearance. One thing to note too with Linmar, I don't believe Hud Turner, they're ranked 132 pounder. I don't believe he was in the lineup Tuesday too. That could have affected some things. Notice Nate Fish wrestled up a weight. We talked about how Linmar kind of bumped up some of their studs as well. To try to get those good matchups for the team. Doug Stryker usually does a really good job with managing that, and but Limar missing a key component there in the lower weights. Not saying Waverly wouldn't have won even if he was in there, just kind of pointing that out there. So, as we mentioned, the state qualifiers out of 3A, Southeast Polk, Fort Dodge, Bettendorf, Indianola, Waukee Northwest, Ankeny, Centennial, Hempstead, and Waverly Shell Rock, which will be in the field. Saturday, is that pretty much Southeast Polk's title to lose? Do you think an Indianola, Bettendorf, or even a Fort Dodge can give them a run?
I don't. Yes, absolutely. I don't think anyone can match them personally. So Southeast Polk likely will have Waverly Shell Rock first round, and then Ankeny, Centennial, Fort Dodge will close out the top half there, and then the bottom half, Indianola will be the second seed against Hempstead, and then Bettendorf will be the third seed against Waukee Northwest. And it should be that way based on the rankings, the coaches' rankings, and so forth. So that would be their seeds.
Yeah, Southeast Polk and Waverly Shell Rock is a state duels matchup we've seen plenty of, just not in that quarterfinal round, right?
That's what I kind of chuckled when I wrote that down. I go, wow, you don't see that in the first round usually. So,
so give me your top three. Give me your top three in 3A.
I think it's going to go this way. I think it's going to go Southeast Polk, Bettendorf, because Bettendorf's kind of rolling, and I really like Indianola, but I think Bettendorf's going to catch them in the semifinals. And then I don't know if it's going to be. I'm tossed between Fort Dodge and Indianola, so I'm going to go with my heart, Indianola.
Okay. I'll I like your finals. I'm just gonna go with Fort Dodge in the third place duel over Indianola. So we're close. We just we'll take opposite teams for third place there in 3A. So then in class 2A, just kind of look in the top uh 7 seeds advance as well. You mentioned the 8-9. Always the closest or toughest ones. That regional duel in Ballard was not for the faint of heart the entire night. Humboldt had to survive. Williamsburg beat Williamsburg 34-31 and then edged Ballard on criteria 38-30 to advance. So the number 9 seed Humboldt advances there to join the top 7. But that was an exciting, just the whole regional there at Ballard with that 3-point difference with Humboldt and Williamsburg to start the night off, and then Humboldt comes through again with the biggie.
Right, Williamsburg, the 24th ranked team, wrestling 9 and 8. Number 9 Humboldt, number 8 Ballard, and wrestling right there with Humboldt, who beats Ballard. So I mean, that was to me that was probably the toughest district in all 3 classes, or the most balanced one anyway.
Right. And credit Williamsburg. We talked about them getting 6th. At the WAMAC, and then making the regional duels as the number 24 team, and then battling Humboldt and giving them everything they had or could want. Grant Eckenrod's done a really good job. They were depleted with injuries and some guys not going out. And they've just kind of gotten a little bit better as the season has gone on, and really has salvaged a season that they thought might be really, really challenging at the start. So credit to them. Kind of looking just at the WAMAC performances. Mount Vernon, the number 2 seed, beat Solon, the number 14 seed, 46-15. So Mount Vernon heads back to state duels. You think they have to have their sights on winning the whole thing. It's been a banner season. I think that's win number 26 for them, which is a school record in dual wins. You talked about their first WAMAC tournament title. I think it's their second dual title in the conference for the division. So big season for them, and of course we kind of expected it. They came back from last year loaded, so they're kind of in position to make a title run Saturday. Solon beat Columbus Community 38-28 to get there. West Delaware won its regional duel. Fourth ranked Hawks beat Decorah 43-24. Number 23 Decorah with upset of number 13 Benton 46-24 in the first round of that regional duel site to get a chance at the Hawks. But West Delaware, 7 straight years, 7 straight years to the state duels. The last 6, they've made it to the state duel finals.
And it's not going to end anytime soon. They've got such a nice program and great community support, as we mentioned, and great coaching staff. And those young kids, they just do some neat things. That camp where they go out and camp out during the summer and with their young kids and do fishing and wrestling and all the other things. So that's pretty cool. That's neat what they do there. So yeah, that's not going to end anytime soon. But so that, I think you mentioned it, that 8 and 9 match went down to criteria again, or I guess we mentioned that, yeah. But yeah. So who do you have?
Do you know what criteria ended up being?
I don't know. I was curious myself, but I did not see that. But here's what I have for the brackets. I'm gonna have Osage number 1, and they'll wrestle Humboldt, and then the rest of the top half, number 5 will be Sergeant Bluff Luton, and then number 4 West Delaware. And then on the bottom half, you'll have Mount Vernon, the number 2 seed, against Algona, the number 7 seed. And then Creston, the number 3 seed, against Independence, who, remember at the beginning of the year, I said, that's my team into the top 10. Hey, way to go, Independence. I love you. So I'll let you go first this time. Who are your top 3?
Well, I think Osage out of the top half. They'll be in the finals. I like the 1 and 2. Osage, Mount Vernon. You know what? I'm going to be a homer. I'm going to be an absolute homer here, and I'm going to go with Mount Vernon. There's just something about the way that they've wrestled this season. A lot of things, just watching them at, the WAMAC, watching them at the Clyde Bean duel, the Clyde Bean Brad Smith duels at City High. I really like them. Sage will be a tough get, but I'll be a homer. I'll go Mount Vernon, Osage number 2, and then number 3. I'm gonna go West Delaware.
Okay. And I'm with you. And I had this before you mentioned it. I'm going with Mount Vernon as well. I know it's going to be tough to beat Osage. Maybe that's more with my heart than my head. I don't know, but I haven't looked at matchups at all. But I'm going with Mount Vernon there, and then I'm going to go Sergeant Bluff Luton.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully, for Delaware fans. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I think they might nip Delaware and maybe take 3rd.
That very well could be. Clint Cudum has a really strong team again this year. They'll be in that 4-5 right out of the gate. That might not be a bad pick.
We'll see.
Yep. One other thing I just want to mention really quick, just with a couple of the qualifiers in mainly with West Delaware and Independence. And I'm sure it's true with some other teams and everything, but with West Delaware and Independence, and we've called, I don't know how many, you know, uh, Indy West Delaware duels and know the atmosphere there. And you talked about the support in the community, but these are two programs that I think really cherish state duels. And I'm not speaking in hyperbole here that this this is something that they really care. Some teams don't have a value. They're focused solely on Des Moines. It's an individual sport. There's a team race there too. That's what they're focused on. That's the crown jewel. But these two programs, and I think it's the fourth time in 5 years that Independence is qualified. We mentioned 7 in a row for West Delaware, and probably the only reason why it's not 5 in a row for Indy because they had to go to West Delaware last year. But they really value the state duels and the team component, and I think that's one of the reasons why you've seen them be regulars here, especially the last 5 to 7 years.
Yep, and I don't disagree with you on the fact that some programs put a little more emphasis on it than others, and we've seen that in the past where teams would not bring their varsity early on. But now the tournament has changed weekends and even sites, and so I think it gives it a little more prestige of its own rather than feeling like a tack on. And,
sure.
And
that's
so
a great
I'm hoping
point.
that it's a that most teams are, and plus with time, I think that's kind of worn off. You might see it in the third round or something. You might see some, matchups that might happen at state down the road, and you want to maybe they'll start thinking seeds. I don't know. I hope not, but
Right.
We'll see. But I think that's happening. I'm hoping that's happening a little less now than it did back with the old format and date.
So your 2A qualifiers: Sergeant Bluff, Luton, Independence, Osage, West Delaware, Mount Vernon, Algona, Preston, and Humboldt. Preston, the number 3 seed there, as well. On to 1A, I was at Alburnett actually. And before I get too far, I just want to put in a little plug for the Gazette. We had I think we had 6 total hosts. We were able to staff 4 of them. Jeff Linder was at Linmar for Waverly Shellrock in Linmar Regional Dual Final. You can go to thegazette.com, iowaprepsports.com to see his dual story from that regional duel. Riley Cole, who's done an outstanding job in our girls coverage, really spearheading that. She's been fantastic. She was at West Delaware for their win over Decorah. She also has a feature on Eleanor Fobb from the Super Regional last week. Xavier's very first state qualifier. That's also at thegazette.com. I know she'll have a state tournament preview at the website as well. Kind of 5 things to watch for the girls' state tournament here coming up Thursday and Friday at Xtream Arena in Coralville. And then Ryan Plagenkule was at Mount Vernon for the regional duels there with Solon, Columbus Community, and Mount Vernon. So please go to thegazette.com, iowapreps.com, and check out those the coverage that they provided, because Jeff Linder took time off away from his girls basketball beat to help us out on that coverage. So he's not somebody that covers wrestling regularly, but was willing to do that to help our wrestling coverage. So want to thank all of them for their effort in doing that last night. as I mentioned, I was at Alburnett. The top ranked Pirates had Earlham and Pleasantville there. And I tell you what, I kind of had a little fun with my story. Um, talked about the close matches and how competitive it was, and it came down to the very end, and there's a big comeback. And then Alburnett came into the gym to get ready for the regional final, because that was the duel with Earlham and Pleasantville. The final wasn't anything like that. Alburnett, big winner, 60-14 over Earlham. Um, they were dominant right from the get-go. I will say this, the Earlham Pleasantville duel, 16-17, came down to the very last match. Josh Winey got a pin, I believe, at 132 to secure the win for Earlham, who had lost to Pleasantville earlier in the season. So Earlham able to avenge that loss, beat Pleasantville 42-35 in a really fun matchup. But then, the reward there was to face an extremely tough Alburnett team. And it was 60-14. To mention, Alburnett looks so good. They came out 3 straight pins. It was Dawson Becker that got things started, Reese Klosterman, and then Shaden Washburn made it 18-0 before Earlham was able to get on the board, and it was pretty much all Pirates. They won 11 of the 14 weight classes. 2 matches of note, 2 ranked matches, both went Alburnett's way. 106, number 3, Atlee DeWitt wrestled number 9, Max Millage. Really fun match. DeWitt got a takedown in the first period to go up 2-0. Millage escaped, added a third period escape to tie it up 2-2. Scoreless sudden victory. Both wrestlers got right outs in the tiebreaker. Near the end, Atlee the second 30-second period in tiebreaker 1, DeWitt almost got out. So they go to ultimate tiebreaker, and it's his choice. You rode the guy out for 30 seconds. You almost got out at the end of the previous period. What do you choose?
Oh yeah.
If it was you, what would you choose?
Oh man, yeah, I have to see the flow of the match to have a real good decision, but I would suspect maybe top.
See, and that's what I was kind of wondering if he would. He turned to Clayton Rush, and Rush looked at him and said, "Down, get up." And he ends up getting a reversal to win it 4-2, and very exciting match. Really gutsy way to win it. Asked Atlee DeWitt afterwards, what was going through your mind? He goes, Clayton Rush knows a lot more than I do. I'm going to listen to him every time. He told me to go down, and that's what I did, and it worked out. But I thought that was kind of interesting, because my first thought was, you rode him hard. I know Millage had 2 escapes in the regulation, but DeWitt rode him hard in the tiebreaker, and thought it'd just be easier that way. But he got down, got a reversal in a flurry, and ended up winning. So that was big. The other one came at 126. It was Peyton Kufal, who's ranked 3rd, and Peyton Harger, who's ranked 5th. And Kufal came out really offensive, got 3 takedowns in the first period, and then ended up winning 7-3 there as well. So a lot of pins from Alburnett, and then the 2 probably highlight matches, I guess you would say, they went their way as well. So a real dominant night for them, and they should be the top seed at state duels on Saturday.
Right. And probably will. I mean, Albernette's not, they're number one for a reason. So, I mean, 60-14 is pretty convincing.
And looking through the other regional champs, Don Bosco, ranked number 2. They beat Nottoway Valley 57-15. Wilton defeated West Branch 39-17. West Branch advanced with a win over Truro I-35 48-24. Lake Mills back to the state duels. They beat number 14 Denver 38-29. Of course, Lake Mills is ranked number 4. Nashua Plainfield is 5th. They beat number 12 Emmitsburg 70-12. Wapsie Valley, that's the biggest or the highest ranked team to advance. Number 11 Wapsie Valley. I think I mentioned this. I think I said to look out for Wapsie Valley for this. I could be making it up. We'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure I was on the Wapsie Valley boat and the potential of knocking off West Hancock, and they did. Wapsie beat Oakland Riverside 59-15 in the first round duel, followed it up with a 43-33 win over number 6 West Hancock. And then Jessup, number 7 Jessup, they're gonna make their debut at the state duels on Saturday. Number 7 Jessup beat number 10 Lisbon 48-24. Lisbon advanced to the final with a 60-18 win over North Butler Clarksville. But big accomplishment and achievement for Jessup, get to the state duels for the first time. And then number 8 Hinton, finally a team seeded or ranked 8th that's going to advance. They beat Shenandoah 41-25, and Shenandoah beat number 9 Logan Magnolia 48-31 there to get to the regional final there at Hinton. But a couple of surprises maybe. Thought Lisbon could have a chance, like the Loma as well, but they don't advance. And then Wapsie Valley coming through. I think their second straight trip to the state dual tournament.
Right, three upsets in those first rounds of the 8 in 1A, and then of course the big upset in the finals over West Hancock, Wapsie Valley getting that. So here's how I have the brackets. This is unofficial, of course, like I said. Albernette number 1, Wapsie Valley, they'll wrestle Wapsie Valley. Number 4, Lake Mills will wrestle number 5, Nashua Plainfield. And then number 2, now the bottom half, Don Bosco will wrestle number 7, Hinton. And then by 7, the 7 seeds at the tournament. And then number 3, Wilton will wrestle number 6, Jessup, making their debut, like you said. So I'll go ahead and make my picks. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, I've been doing it with my heart all day long. So Albernette and Don Bosco in the finals. I'm going to go with Albernette winning it, and that will not be easy. Don Bosco, as we know, is always very good. And then I'm going to pick, I've been picking a wild card on all of these, so it seems like. So I'm going to go Nashua Plainfield again on this one. No, okay. I can't. No, I got to go Wilton. I'm sorry. I got to go Wilton.
Okay. So I think I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for this. And I think some people will give me a hard time, and I welcome that. So if you prove me wrong, please let me know. I'm open for this. I'm going to go with Don Bosco over Albernette in the finals. And I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm going to go with the Dons over the Pirates. And then, you know what? I liked your Nashua Plainfield pick. I'm going to go with them over Wilton for third.
Okay.
I like that. Al Frost. They seem to wrestle well here in February, so I'll go. That'll be my 3: Albernette, Don Bosco, and Nashua Plainfield.
Great teams. Yeah, really.
And the overall qualifiers in 1A, again, Albernette, Don Bosco, Nashua Plainfield, Jessup, Hinton, Wilton, Lake Mills, and Wapsie Valley. So before we get to the state duels, though, the 3-day event down in Coralville kicks off with the IGHSAU state championships, second year of a sanctioned girls union state tournament. This I think this one will be just as exciting as last year's. You've got, I think there's 160 teams,
Right.
160 schools represented.
160 teams, 448 wrestlers, and they're using 32 man brackets, which means you have to win 5 matches to be a champion. And then if you lose first round and you want to be third, you have to win 7 matches on the backside.
Wow.
And that's the same bracket that they use in the NCAA Division I, not 2 or 3, Division I men's tournament. So that's a dandy bracket. That's a lot of wrestling.
That's for sure, for sure. Just kind of looking at kind of how things played out. I think you've got the makings for a really good team race when you look at Decorah and what they have coming into the state tournament, Southeast Polk as well. Waverly Shell Rock will be up there. Bettendorf looked good at the Super Regional here in Cedar Rapids. Don't forget about Vinton Schellsburg. Lewis Central, I think, is a team to look at as well. But this has a making for a really good, a fun team race too.
Okay, and you, unless I missed you saying it, I think you missed one. Cedar Falls.
So, yeah, Cedar Falls. So, yeah, look what they've done. They've beaten Decorah and Waverly. I think they beat Waverly Shell Rock in the regional, right? So here within the last couple of weeks, they've beaten Decorah and Waverly Shell Rock head to head.
Right, and Cedar Falls has 11 qualifiers. Decorah, Raccoon River Valley, Southeast Polk have 9 qualifiers. Bettendorf, Ankeny, and Waverly Shell Rock have 8. Vinton Schellsburg has 7, unless I missed a couple in there. I did it very quickly before we went on here, so I might have missed some. But Cedar Falls has the lead in terms of numbers of qualifiers so far. So, and they're a tough team.
Yeah. So I did kind of overlook them, didn't I?
That's all
right. Just kind of going through the top seeds here. You mentioned Raccoon River Valley. Katie Biscaglia, know that name well. She's the top seed at 100 pounds. Layla Phillips of Mason City, the number 1 seed at 105. Then Jasmine Lutke of Ottumwa. I believe she was a semifinalist last year. She's the top seed at 110. At 115, we've got Sioux City North, Somali Set. At 120, Abigail Meyer of Pleasant Valley, who is a regional champ here in Cedar Rapids. At 125, you got Molly Allen of Riverside, formerly of Underwood. The Allen family there, great wrestlers, and she's the number 1 seed, 125, nationally ranked as well. And then at 130, the number 1 seed, defending state champ, Mackenzie Childers of Cedar Rapids Prairie, 33-2. The junior's looking for her second straight title. At 135, South Tama's Maylee Ellsbury. I think she was a finalist last year, and she's the number 1 seed at 135. At 140, of course, Kira Javesi, Waverly Shell Rock, 42-0, senior, going to the University of Iowa. amazingly delightful personality to go along with a great wrestling ability. She's the number one seed at 140, looking for another state title. And then Mary Mans of Lewis Central, one of those that the Titans could be leaning on to get a high finish in the team race. Is your top seed at 145. And then Skylar Slade, Southeast Polk, 43-0, sophomore at 155, the top seed. They're one of the nation's top wrestlers, highly ranked nationally at 150. Then Naomi Simon, also 43-0, a senior. She's been dominant from the very first day she stepped into high school. She's going to the University of Iowa as well. She's looking for her second straight state title, and I think she had 2 IWCOA state championships as well. So she's the number one seed at 170. At 190, I think this could be really interesting. You've got Bella Porcelli of Southeast Polk, who's unbeaten, the number one seed. But then you also have Jenna Terwee of West Lyon, who's the number 2 seed, who's unbeaten. You got Cameron Steinis of Decorah, the number 3, and then you've got Libby Dix, who was a state finalist for Mount Vernon a year ago, who's the number 4. So I think you've got a stacked bracket with those top 4 seeds at 190.
Wait till you get that. Well. Wait till you get to 235 here.
Yeah, you've got Olivia Huckfelt of Spencer, who's 40-0 as the number 1 seed. Looking at the number 2, you've got Brianna Peach of Iowa Valley, who's 31-0. And then you have Ella Brown of Cedar Rapids Kennedy, 28-0. And Allison Crum of East Buchanan, the number 4 seed, 34-2. So you've got 3 unbeaten wrestlers in the top 3 seeds, and then Crum, who I believe placed last year, as did Brown. And she, only 2 losses, and you've got a heck of a Donnybrook, not to steal from another tournament in Coralville, but you've got the makings of a heck of a brawl there at 235 come Thursday and Friday.
Right. In this tournament, the quality of wrestling just gets better and better and better every year. And the tenacity that you see out of a lot of these young ladies, man, it's just fun to see it out there. And they really put it out. And when we get to those matches, those high level, equal talented matches, it's gonna be fun to watch those.
I have to say, I think another weight class that really stands out to me, especially with its top 3 competitors, the top 2 seeds, I think 130. I think 130 is you've got Mackenzie Childers, we mentioned, as the top seed, 33-2. Chloe Sanders, she's 54-3 for Vinton Schellsburg. Sanders and Childers, both regional champions here in Cedar Rapids, in separate regionals, obviously. But then you've got Tatum Shepard of Ridgeview, Northeast. She is as tough and strong as they come, a great multi-sport athlete. I remember the pictures last year, bloody nose. She was a battler, placed at last year's state tournament. She's 37-2. So between possible finals match between Childers and Sanders, and you've got Shepard there on the bottom side with Sanders, probably a semifinal match there. I think you're gonna see some really good battles there, and of course Lexi Peterson of Bettendorf, number 4 seed. But like Childers getting to the finals and facing either Shepard or Sanders, and probably be a heck of a battle in the semis there at 130 as well.
Well, that Childers Peterson match was the finals at the Anamosa tournament, and both of them got their 100 match win or their 100 win matches at that tournament. Yeah, that one. I mean, that one would favor Childers based on that result at Anamosa, but and Childers is returning champ, so yeah, that's definitely very competitive, as you're saying.
Kind of interesting at 115. We mentioned Molly Sack of Sioux City North being the number 1 seed. Then you have Ellie Wheats of Vinton Schellsburg, the number 2 seed. I believe Wheats was a state runner up a year ago. But any clue on who the number 3 seed is?
Yeah, but I'm curious as to why number 3. I don't.
I am too. Rena Utterbach of Sigourney Kyoto, 44-0, the number 3 seed. The junior who placed at the Iowa High School Athletic Association state tournament a year ago. Now that Sigourney has a girls team, she's wrestling there. The number 3 seed, and I tell you what, if you ever took a mat with a chip on your shoulder, or if anybody ever has, this might be the biggest one, because she's one of the nation's best. She's proven it. She's one of the state's best on the boys' side as well. She's unbeaten in 44 matches, and she's a number 3 seed. So that's kind of interesting. But that's another one too, because Bendorf has Taylor Streif, who's the number 4 there as well. So some of these matches or some of these brackets really, the semis are going to be just as entertaining as Friday night's finals.
Right, that number 3 seed's a head scratcher for me. I don't understand it, but it's still in a good spot. You're going to be paired up with the 6th seed. If you're the number 2 seed, you'd be paired up with the 7th seed. So it's not a horrible place to be. So have to prove it out on the mat, as they say.
Yep. And then as far as Vinton Schellsburg goes, they're big 3, all seeded number 2. We mentioned Sanders and Wheats, and then Bree Swenson, the number 2 seed behind Pleasant Valley's Meyer at 120. In that bracket. So Vinton Schellsburg in good pairings there, good seedings there for their top 3 leaders. The other one I wanted to check on here too in the 120-pound weight class, and I'm having a hard time finding her. Allie Jelinek from Linmar, I was kind of looking for. Here, do I have the right weight class for Jelinek at 120? Did I miss it? Well, we'll take a look at that. The other thing too at 125, where you have the makings of a dandy as well. You've got Molly Allen of Riverside, 27-0, and then you've got Jillian Worthen of Union Community. I believe both are defending state champs. They're a combined 51-0, both juniors. So that could be a collision course for Friday night's finals, and could be one of the top matchups overall.
Right. And Linmar's qualifiers were Kate Seary, Ava Hofer, and Reese Roberts and Brielle Park. So she did not.
Oh, okay. Okay, I must I must have missed that from the super regional. And of course, we know Rio Park. She uh, outstanding wrestling family there from Linmar and Kate Siri. Uh, her dad Kelly Siri. Um, she's the number 4 seed there at is it 110 or 115?
15, I think.
Okay, so
I got a shout out to two Jefferson qualifiers, Josephine Budadera at 35 and Emma York at 140. And then I think Kennedy had three qualifiers. We mentioned
Ella Brown,
Brown,
Olivia Hallam was another one.
and then Jocelyn Stricker at 190. So
Siri, the number 4 seed at 110 pounds. From Linmar, just to clarify that as well. So
Hofer's at 115. I'm sorry.
Okay, Ava Hofer. Gotcha. So, yeah, Josephine Budadera. Talked to her after she reached the finals to secure her state berth, her second. She's made some huge strides from a year ago. But making her second trip to the state tournament, kind of interesting. She never wrestled until high school and just watched her brothers. One of her brothers wrestles for Concordia, Wisconsin, currently. But watch them, and then when Jefferson kind of announced that, hey, it's going to be sanctioned, we're going to have our own team, and she was all for it, jumped in to it feet first, and look what it's done, paid off. She was the number 1 seed at regionals, got second, but moving on to the state tournament for the second straight year. So congratulations to her.
Absolutely. Very cool. I love it when they haven't, when wrestlers, male or female, haven't wrestled until they got to high school and then elect to join the sport. That's not easy to do. It's a little easier for the women because the sport's just getting, in its infancy, but for the guys, and I appreciated that so much as a coach. The athletes that would dare to walk in that room and they know they're going to take a lick, and yet they still do, and go through that learning process. So good for her.
Looking at the numbers that they have, I'm talking about girls wrestling overall. Seeing 25 teams per regional at these super regional sites, and you've got 160 teams that are represented. How soon do we see a second class?
Well, that was my question to you. So here's my thoughts. I think it's a matter of when more than if, and I also think that if they do, they almost have to reduce the brackets from 32 maybe to 24 like the boys, and because otherwise you're going to have 60. If you have two divisions, now you've got 64 qualifiers, and I don't know that the numbers are there yet for that. So if they keep it at 32, then it's going to be a few years until the number of girls really increases. And I don't know what the split is with in terms of participation with say the 1A and 2A if you divided it into 2 classes. Would the smaller schools have enough, or would the bigger schools have enough? I don't know, to fill a 32-man bracket. So I think it's going to happen. I don't, there's a couple of questions whether they bring it down to 24 qualifiers and then go 2 classes. That might be the thing.
Personally, I think we're going to see it sooner than later. And I mean, I think it's very close on the horizon. I would think when you first start it, I think it would be 16 wrestler brackets in both classes. So you're not losing the number of qualifiers. You're just splitting them into 2 tournaments. So you'll have the same number of qualifiers. And you'll see the super regionals go away and go to similar host schools like you see for the boys. So the smaller fields there for regionals and go away from the super regional sites at big venues to the schools being hosts. And then, like I said, 16 qualifiers per weight class in each class to start out with, and then if numbers continue to grow, then I think you would see the switch to 24 person brackets as those numbers increase as well.
Well, you know what, KJ, I didn't look at it that way. 16 and 16 is still a 32, so that makes total sense to me to do it that way. Then build it up to 24 eventually.
To start, yeah.
I mean, you know, the girls are in their what, third or fourth year of official? No, second year
Yep.
of official, so even less. Second year of official, and you know, the boys are in their 100th year, maybe, I don't know, close. So you know, it's going to take a little while to evolve. And even in the history of the boys, there's been change. You know, when I was in high school, the state tournament was all 3 years I was in high school. It was different every year as they were, you know, kind of trying to tweak it in terms of qualifiers and stuff. So, but like my senior year, there were it was an 8-man bracket at state, but it was a 24-man bracket at districts, and it was a 2-day tournament back then.
Oh, wow.
And in the middle of the week. So, it was, you know, just crazy things. And then the year before they had 12-man brackets at state or something like that. And the district champ didn't have a first round match. And anyway, so it gets tweaked.
Here's something I'll throw at you and just kind of test your knowledge here really quick before we wrap up. Do you know what year the very first IHSAA state tournament was?
Well, let me see. I think I can get it close. I'm going to go with 1961.
1921.
Oh, I thought you were my title or something.
Yeah.
And I know this is Washington, right?
Yep.
You dropped Washington. I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question.
Yep, that's okay. So that was the first one under what they consider the auspices of the Iowa High School Athletic Association. Do you know when they went to 2 classes?
Let's see. Oh man.
And I tell you, you were close.
Yeah.
With your original guess, which I think is what you thought I meant.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 62.
It was 1957. You're within
okay.
A couple of years there, but 1957. So 36 years. It was a 1-class tournament. I know it's a different age and stuff, but you know, to see multiple classes within a relatively short amount of time, I think that says a lot.
So 57. By the time that tournament rolled around, I wasn't even one yet. You weren't even thought of yet.
You know, yeah, I certainly was not. And then in 1969 is when it became a 3-class event.
Okay.
So, and of course, we've had 3 classes since. But one of the things I'll throw this out there just for the hell of it. Marshalltown won a state title in 1926. They scored 18 points, by the way. Their head coach, technically their head coach, even though I'm sure their student coach, Allie Morrison, probably did more of the coaching. But their faculty sponsor / formal head coach, do you know who he was?
No, I don't.
He's a Hall of Famer in a whole different sport.
No clue.
Former Kentucky basketball coach Adolph Rupp.
Yeah, I think I have heard that actually. Yeah.
So So there's a connection there. And I wish Kentucky still had a wrestling team.
Well, we wrestled when I was in college, and Fletcher Carr was the coach, and Joe Carr was the heavyweight wrestler, I think. And man, Joe was he was scary looking. Yeah. And that Carr family, of course, they're still wrestling. Obviously Nate's still coaching, and David's still wrestling. So I'm sad when they canceled the Kentucky program.
Yeah. I still wish Southeast Conference had some semblance of a conference, really. When you look at LSU, they got the axe. Kentucky, Florida, would have a champ here or there. So it'd be nice if that would ever come back into the fold, but I don't think that's possible. But anyway, any further comments here before we wrap things up and say goodbye and get ready for the 3-day event down in Coralville, which has turned out to be a pretty cool deal with the girls state tournament 2 days, followed by the state duels on Saturday.
Right. This might be our busiest week of the year with the conference tournaments, the regionals, the girls state. Obviously we've got some busy times ahead too, but this one was a busy week.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And certainly mandated 2 days of podcasts from the two of us. So we enjoyed doing that. Make sure you get down to Coralville to catch some great action down there with the girls Thursday, Friday, the boys with state duels on Saturday. I'll be down there. Coach Briggs, you have any officiating duties this week?
I do. I'm doing the Mississippi Valley junior varsity at Prairie.
Okay. At Prairie. So that'll be this Saturday as well. Make sure you get out and support those wrestlers and take in some good action. Again, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm KJ Pilcher with Dick Briggs. And why don't we head out with Wyatt Schultz's key line.
Let's keep wrestling on the move.